Good evening, folks. Okay, time to start. Welcome to the 2024 TCS New York City Marathon fourth and final training panel with a set of experts. So if this is your first time here to the Run Center, welcome. If you are coming back from one of our other panels, welcome back. Let's go over some logistical information before we move into the Q&A with our panelists. So if you are in need of an assistive listening device and you did not request one ahead of time, you are more than welcome to ask one of our Run Center colleagues. They are to my right, to your left. We do have accessible and gender-neutral restrooms that are available behind all of us around the corner. This panel is being live streamed on New York Roadrunners YouTube channel. So we have folks joining us on the live stream. The live stream will turn into a recording that will be available on the YouTube page. Please just keep in mind that the closed captionings that are available, they're auto-generated. So we will all try to speak very clearly so there's no gibberish typed up underneath. And we will have audience Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, please hold on to them. We'll take questions from folks that are here in person first, and then we will move into taking some questions from the live stream folks as well. We do have Coach Gemma monitoring the chat on the live stream, so live stream folks, feel free to add comments and questions there. As far as who I am, my name is Saman Wakad. I am the Diversity, Equity, and Social Responsibility Specialist here at New York Roadrunners. I will be your moderator for the day, and as I like to say, I am not the expert on this panel. These folks are. I'm just here to ask the questions. And for folks here in the audience, on the live stream, or those watching the recording at a later time, we do provide physical descriptions for those who might be blind or low vision. So I am a South Asian woman. I am wearing dark, thick-rimmed glasses, a blue jacket with the TCS New York City Marathon and New Balance logos on the front in orange, as well as an orange headscarf. And I will now move into introducing our wonderful panelists. So first we have Steve Mura. Steve Mura is an RRCA and V.02 certified coach, and he has been working at New York Roadrunners for a very long time. He's been here for 9 years, coaching runners around the world, both virtually and in person. We are very fortunate to have him. He has completed the New York City Marathon multiple times with a marathon PR of 3 hours, 3 minutes, and a half PR of 1 hour, 24 minutes. Steve leads the New York Roadrunners pace team, and this year he will be pacing the 4-hour group for the race. Steve.
Thank you so much. I need to update that. It's been 10 years now. Ooh, that's an old bio. Time flies. Yeah, my name's Steve. I have a hat that says coach and a shirt that says coach, so you know what role I'm playing today. A blue shirt, brown pants, and orange New Balance shoes.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, we did just recently announce that you had reached 10 years at New York Roadrunners.
It's been a while.
Yes. And next we have Stephanie DiBrita.
It's fine, either way.
Stephanie DiBrita is the director of New York Roadrunners International Tour Operator Program, also known as ITO, and she is also a part-time group training coach at New York Roadrunners. She has completed the TCS New York City Marathon twice, but she has run the course numerous times as part of the group training coaching team. Most recently, she completed the TCS London Marathon this past April with a time of 3 hours, 19 minutes, and 57 seconds. Race week, you'll be able to find Stephanie in the ITO office helping our thousands of runners who have been booked through our ITOs. Stephanie.
Thanks, Saman. I am a Caucasian woman with what my boss likes to call a power bun. It is nice and tight at the top. I have a navy blue shirt with orange writing. If and when you go to the expo this weekend, this is what the New York Roadrunner staff will be wearing. So look forward to that. I have black leggings on, and I have tan New Balance sneakers.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. So folks, today we're here to talk about race day logistics, but before we get to race day, you have to go to the expo. So we are going to talk about the expo first. Stephanie, we're going to start with you. Talk to us about the expo, what runners can do there, and the bib pickup process, because it is a process.
It is quite a process. For me, the expo is when the race starts to feel real. I know Steve, when you go into the expo to set up, when I go into the expo to set up, that's when you start seeing the giant TCS New York City Marathon logos. That's when you start seeing all the numbers. This is when what you're doing starts to become real. So when you go into the expo is at the Jacob Javits Center. For those of you that are not in New York City, it is located near Hudson Yard. The most efficient way for you to get there from Times Square would be the 7 train. If you are coming across town, the most accessible route would be through the M34 bus, which I took for the first time last year. I've never taken a New York City bus. And that was amazing. But when you go into
Shout out MTA.
when you go into the Jacob Javits Center, you are going to enter on your right. When you go into the space, the first thing you will see is the ITO office to your left, and then to your right, you'll see 3 of our specialty groups. You'll see Team for Climate, which is our new group. You'll see our TFK, or Team for Kids program, and you'll also see our AWD specialty groups. If you have an entry through any of those 3 groups, you should go see them first. If you don't, you'll continue walking into the expo space, and you will see ahead of you numbers written in giant letters. These numbers will correspond to your bib number. So with the smallest numbers being right in front of you and growing as you go towards the back of the space. Once you pick up your bib number, if you look at it and say, oh my goodness, I spelled my name wrong, what do I do? You are going to do a 180 and turn around and find the runner support desk. They're going to be there to help you with any birthday issues, name issues, anything that's on your bib that's not correct, they're going to help you. If you get your bib and then you realize, I never picked transportation, what am I gonna do? Turn around, we're going to have a transportation desk where you'll be able to change your transportation or even select one if you didn't select one. Continue along, you'll see the t-shirts, and the t-shirts will be available for you to pick up, and you'll get the one that's picked on your bib. And then once you go through that, like I said, it's a process. Our expo is huge. You then go into the New Balance area that's going to have all the New Balance gear. It's going to have shorts, shoes, shirts, gloves, mugs, teddy bears, anything that you can think of, it's going to be there. Once you go through that, then you go onto our expo floor. And we have over 80 vendors that are going to be on the expo floor. We also have 2 stages, including the citizen stage and the coaching lab stage, where Coach Steve and other coaches are going to be doing core strategies throughout the presentation. But it's a huge space. It's a fun space. Get there early and wear comfortable sneakers when you're walking around.
Yes, you can get your steps in that day. And when does the expo begin?
Yes, so the expo is going to open next Thursday. Doors open at 10 a.m. They remain open till 8, but our final bib pickup is going to be at 7:30. Those hours are the same for Friday as well. On Saturday, the doors open at 9 a.m. with the last bib pickup being at 4:30. If you are running the Abbott Dash and you're from out of town, you will pick up your bib at the expo. If you're local and you're running the Abbott Dash to the finish line, I encourage you to come to the Run Center beforehand and pick up your bib there.
I'm just going to ask follow-up questions to tackle any other Q&As.
There's so much information.
Can I just come to the Run Center and pick up my marathon bib as well?
Absolutely not. No.
I asked when I got here. They said, Brian's like, no, don't get your bib here.
No, marathon bibs are not available for pickup at the Run Center. They are only available for pickup at the expo, and you have to pick up your bib. You cannot have a friend pick it up. You cannot have a family member that you trust and you texted and said, they can pick up my bib. You must present your confirmation card, that has your QR code and a government-issued ID with your picture on it.
Awesome. So it is a process, but it's an experience. You get your steps in, and then you also have a wonderful time at the expo. It's a lot of fun.
I have a great time. I think that is just so much energy. I know as a staff, we are always high energy. It's what we work for all year. So to get to experience it with the 50,000 runners that are going to be running, it's just incredible.
Yes, I agree. So, Coach Steve, let's talk about what runners, athletes, participants, what they can gain as far as last-minute tips and tricks at the expo, because it's not just the bibs and the shopping and the other stuff. And then also, what should runners' training look like the week of that marathon?
It's a lot of shopping, which is great. So Steph kind of mentioned it. So we do have a running lab, and that's kind of the place a lot of athletes will go for last-minute tips, tricks. I call take off that last 1% of your training. So at the running lab, as Steph said, we're going to go through the course mile by mile every single hour so you can be prepared. We talk about every uphill, every downhill, every turn, everything you thought you knew about the marathon course, we're going to add more to that. All of our coaches have ran this course multiple times, so we're going to go over that course mile by mile. Our pace team is also going to be there, so we have pacers out there, 92 pacers on race day out there spread through 3 hours to 6 hours. We'll be out there helping you out. So pacers will be out there. We'll also have pace bands, so if you want a goal time and a pacer's not in your corral, pick up a pace band. It's a bracelet that goes around you. Keep time yourself throughout the event. Those are there. And then there's this kind of stuff that a lot of vendors that are selling you stuff. But a rule of thumb is nothing new on race day, so you can buy as much stuff as you want at the expo, but you're not going to wear any of it on race day.
Awesome. So how many folks, I forgot to ask this earlier, how many folks here are running the New York City Marathon for the first time?
Yeah.
Okay,
Almost everyone.
quite a lot. How many folks are running a marathon for the first time?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
we found a stat for the marathon this year. If it is 67% of the field is running their first TCS New York City Marathon. So 67%. If this is your
amazing.
first New York City Marathon, you are not alone out there, which is amazing.
That is good
She
to
goes,
know.
I'm glad.
That is good to know. You're all in the same boat here. So the reason why I asked that is because some of you may have never been to Staten Island, or you may have no idea what Fort Wadsworth is. So we talked about Expo. You're going to pick up your bib, course strategy, shopping, shop till you drop, take your friends, family there, have them buy gifts for you. And then now let's talk about race day transportation first. So there's about 50,000 runners that we're expecting on race day. And most folks, including probably many of you, are going to be taking the Staten Island ferry or a bus from Midtown or New Jersey Meadowlands. So in regards to that, Stephanie, some folks may already know this, some may have forgotten, but we assign runners a transportation time, and we encourage runners to stick to those times on race day. Can you talk about why that's important?
Yes, so I just want to pause though real quick because you said something, and we said it earlier, 50,000 people. If you've ever been to, I think MetLife holds 70,000, that's taking almost the entire stadium and bringing them to Staten Island. Like, just realize how many people are all doing the same thing you are before 5 a.m. So just think about your race. You have spent the last 16, 20 weeks training, planning everything, every gel you're going to take, every outfit you're going to wear, every single thing. Do not waste all of that on race day by trying to sleep in an extra 20 minutes or I'll catch the next one. It's okay. It's not that big a deal. There are 50,000 people that are all trying to get to Staten Island. So taking the mode of transportation that you selected is really important. Our ED&P team, our event development and production team, has worked really hard on building out the logistics that you won't even notice because it's just so well baked into our operation. The times that you were shown back in August when your transportation became available were the modes and times that best worked with your wave. So you may not love the 5 a.m. Midtown bus, but if you're on wave 1, you want to be there early. You want to go through security. The entire journey from the moment you arrive at that mode of transportation to the moment you walk into Fort Wadsworth takes about 90 minutes. I know Staten Island is probably 11 miles from here, but we are moving 50,000 people. We have international runners. We have run clubs that are taking buses. We have people that live on Staten Island that are just driving across to get dropped off. There's a lot of people moving, so taking the mode that you selected is super important. If you didn't select a mode of transportation, please do not just show up to the Staten Island ferry, to the Midtown bus. We've now, last year was the first year we did it, we're gonna have a transportation desk. So just come over, talk to one of us, and we will get you on a mode that works for your wave. It's helpful for us, it's helpful for you as you plan out your morning. So it's really important that you stick to what you have, and if you don't, come talk to someone at the expo. We are there for a long time, and we are there to help you. So we want to make your race day really enjoyable, and we want to make the 49,999 other people's day really enjoyable as well.
I always see people ask me, why do I got to get there so early? And it's kind of like when you fly on an airplane, if you're going to Europe, you get to the airport I'm 5 hours early, but most people like 2 hours early to get to the airport because all those people are doing the same thing you're doing. You got to go through security, you use a bathroom, there's a line at Starbucks, your suitcase is over, it's too heavy. All those things happen similar at the Staten Island Ferry and all that places.
Yes, agree. Thank you for talking us through some of the logistics of moving this many people onto
Yeah.
Staten Island.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're getting to Staten Island, once you get to the fort, make sure your bib is sticking out on your outermost layer. It helps security go by that much more efficient when you have your bib on your outer layer, because the security, the NYPD, they won't let anyone in without a bib. So help yourself, help your friends. Just show them your bib when you're walking in.
And can you talk to us a little bit about what folks can expect on each of those different modes of transportation?
Sure. So they're both great. The Midtown bus is at the New York Public Library, and it's a one-step process. You show up at the library, and then you get dropped off at Fort Wadsworth. Simple enough. Staten Island Ferry, which personally I'm a little partial to because I love the sunrise in the morning over the Hudson. You get on the ferry at Whitehall Station, which is accessible by either the 1 train or the R, I believe, at the end of Manhattan. And you will then ride the ferry. The ferry ride is about 20 minutes or so. Then you will board a bus, and the bus will take you to Fort Wadsworth. So 2-step process, but it's all about what you experience. Like I said, I'm super partial to the sunrise. It's a really nice view.
You forgot the most important bus, the Jersey.
Oh,
Jersey
and the
bus.
Jersey bus. That's
See where we live over here,
Yeah.
Jersey.
The New Jersey bus leaves from MetLife Stadium. It's going to be parking lot K. So Jets and Giants fans, you know where that is. But it's super accessible. The stadium is empty. You don't have to worry about traffic or anything like that. The only thing that's super important is that you cannot park there. I believe there's a game that afternoon, but otherwise have someone drop you off, and then the buses will leave on a rolling basis from MetLife Stadium.
Thank you. I know that's a lot of information, folks. You can always go back and watch the recording on our YouTube page. There's also a ton of information available on the website,
Yes.
emails.
Mm-hmm. There's
right?
a whole section on getting to the start, and we have different accordions, so different sections of the website that pop out and dive deeper into different processes of getting to the start.
Yes, thank you. And then obviously there will be staff there at the expo if you have any questions that
Absolutely,
come
yeah.
up on those days. So Coach Steve, you like to tell our athletes to don't race before the race.
Yes.
How does
I've said that a few times.
How does getting to the start or Fort Wadsworth on race day affect folks' overall experience if they're racing on race day?
How you start the morning is going to directly affect how you finish the race. That means how you wake up in the morning. If you wake up panicked, if you wake up anxious, if you wake up feeling, we'll feel nervous, but that means we're doing something good, but you really wake up calm. That's really going to affect the rest of your day. Getting to the buses or the ferry is going to be really important because you need to be calm during those segments, so give yourself extra time. You might have to get on the second subway. You might have to wait a little bit longer for the Uber to get there, however you're getting to those buses or the ferries. So once again, give yourself extra time. Know that, as Steph said, 50,000 people are also going on a bus. So I give myself extra time, maybe 30 minutes. It might seem crazy, extra 30 minutes, that you might need that. And then you have a buffer just in case something goes wrong. What we don't want to see, and what we see every year when we're standing out there as staff members, is someone sprinting from the buses, running through security, and then sprinting to their corrals. And now they're in the corrals. They've run already 4 miles, and they're tired in those corrals. We don't want that. We want you in the start village early so you can actually relax a little bit. So maybe you did sprint there, but you can relax, get that heart rate down before the cannon goes off. So really relax. We give you guys proper time to get to the start area, use the bathroom, relax, talk to people, or go to a quiet zone or the Zen booth or whatever it is. That's the goal. We want you to start calm, not racing for the race, because your medal is going to say 26.2 miles, not adding those miles before the start horn goes off.
Great, thank you. So it's race morning. You have gotten to Staten Island, hopefully on time or early. And before the cannon goes off, as Coach Steve mentioned, race morning, you're relaxing. We hope you're relaxing and not running at Fort Wadsworth on Staten Island. So Coach Steve, what do you advise athletes do before the race? They've gotten there early.
Yeah.
That's what our hope is.
Check, yeah. Step 1, got there early, which means on time. It really depends on how you kind of get your energy, where you get your energy from. I kind of say if you're someone who's an introvert, you kind of want to sit quietly and meditate, maybe take a nap, maybe read a book, stay warm, whatever it looks like. There's places for that. You can sit under a tree, bring something to sit on, hang out by yourself. We're going to have every colored area is going to have the same amenities. So we're going to have some coffee out there, some bagels, some bananas. If you've never had those before your long runs, don't take them, but we have that for you. Bring your breakfast. So bring some food that's portable. Eat that when you're out there. We're also going to have therapy dogs. So if you want some dog, I know everyone's like, yes. So if you want some dogs out there that help calms you, we have that as well. We're going to have certain tents for certain religions out there. We'll have a quiet tent. We'll have a Zen tent. If you like to talk to people, if that calms you down, find a group of people that's having a conversation, hang out with them, see what their goals are, figure out what calms you that morning, and people get that energy in different ways. But it's really staying off your feet and relaxing, visualizing the race, visualizing getting to the finish line, visualizing 26.2 miles that you're going to, whether it's your first time or your 50th time, really figure out where that relaxation comes from the morning of.
Thank you. And important to remember, nothing new on race day, obviously, as you said. So Stephanie, talk to us about the amenities that are available for runners and how they can find their color or wave and what those are if folks don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Steve stole my thunder about what amenities are there, but our waves are broken into 3 colors, so pink, orange, and blue. On your bib, it will be very obvious what color wave you are in. So when you get into Fort Wadsworth, you can mix and match. If your friend has a pink bib but you're a blue, you can totally hang out in the pink village until it's time to start. In each village, they will have the exact same amenities as any other village. So like Steve says, there's going to be bagels. There's going to be over 50,000 servings of coffee and hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts. So just be prepared for that. There's also going to be the Furrenteers, the volunteer therapy dogs.
Is that the name of it?
That's the name of it,
I missed that email. Okay, the Furrenteers.
The Furrenteers.
I love that.
They will be there. But there's also going to be the interfaith services, the quiet zones, the Zen zones. There's a lot of activation that's going to be happening. Once the sun comes up, you almost see that this energy starts to build in the start. You get there, it's very dark, it's very quiet, everyone's trying to get acclimated. But as the sun comes up, you start to see how big the Verrazano Bridge is. You start to see the news broadcasters are getting live. There's just a lot going on. So it's a really great experience. But you should, as your wave is starting to get ready, so if you're in that first wave that's going off, about an hour before, start to make sure you're by your color, because that's when the corrals are going to open up earlier before the wave starts. So make sure you have time to use the restroom, to get comfortable. Any clothes that you're going to toss, please make sure you're taking them over to the waste diversion station or dropping them off at our bins. This year at our waste diversion station, we're actually having something new. So since everyone has their cell phone, everyone wants to videotape everything, we're going to actually have a place where you can throw away any chargers, any type of e-waste. So if you've got one that maybe is a one-time use one, or one that's only charging about 50%, so I'm not going to keep it, please bring it to the e-waste section of our waste diversion section. Sorry, it's
mouthful.
It's a lot of words, but it's really important because it helps the environment, but it also creates a really safe environment for everyone who's volunteering and working at Fort Wadsworth.
I will say, every year I've been at the start line for about 10 years, and the best thing that happens is that first cannon that goes off, because you're not going to expect it, because it's usually before the wave one. There's like the wheelchairs, the professional women. The first one goes off like at 8:30. It always scares me. It also is a sign. I can't turn around at this point. I'm here. It shakes you out. Then the second one shakes. They always make me nervous, but it's kind of another saying. Like you kind of said, the race feels like it starts at the expo, which is 100% true. But then that cannon goes off, and it is the only sporting event in the world that starts with a cannon. Frank Sinatra again, but like it shakes me every year. I never get used to it, but I also love it at the same time.
Do you know they play Frank Sinatra 11 times on race morning? That's a lot
of Frank. Could have been any other song, but I'm glad we chose Frank. Yeah.
Never enough of a Jersey guy.
Everyone should know the lyrics by the end of it. Coach C, we actually referred to this a little bit earlier, nothing new on race day, right? We've said this many times in many of our panels. Can you talk to us about what that actually means on race day when folks are in that start village, and how folks should dress for the race?
What we're wearing on race day is what we've worn in training. So everything, I would say from here on out, from right to tonight, from until you finish 26.2, you've done that before. You've worn that shirt in your training. You've had that food. If it's boring, that probably means it's a good thing because it's not exciting. I was listening to Kara Goucher's audiobook a while ago, and she was overseas, and she had a gel or something like that in some European race, and it hurt her stomach. And this is a professional athlete that tried something new, and it affected her race in a negative way. From professionals to amateur athletes, we all try something new. We want to wear the new shoes at New Balance or the new shirt that we get. You don't know what that shirt's going to do to you 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours into a 50-degree, 40-degree day. So once again, everything, I would say from here on out, is something you've had before, something you've done before. Just because your best friend does it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. People ask me, what do you have, Coach Steve, for dinner? I'm not going to tell you what I have for dinner because it's not going to work for you probably. It might, but we're going to save that for later. So everything I'm hearing is things you've done before, and that includes really race day. Your pacing, we have science and sports on the course. If you've had science and sport gels, those are for you. If you haven't had them, you can grab them for your next race, but don't use them, bring your own gels. Same thing with Gatorade. Hopefully you've had water before. That's on the course. If you haven't had water before, let's talk about that. But everything here on out is tried and true.
New York City also has some of the best water, so.
That's what they say, yeah.
You know.
It's clean.
Hopefully you've had the water before. Okay, so the cannon has gone off. Everybody has started running. So
11 Frank Sinatras.
11 Frank Sinatras. Maybe you'll be there for all 11 of them.
It's like a Christmas jingle. 11 Frank Sinatras, 7.
So now we're going to talk about the actual race, since that's why we're all here, right? First of all, congratulations to all of you. You got in.
Ooh.
You are going to run this race, right? Like not a lot of people get into the New York City Marathon. So that is amazing.
I want to shout that out quickly. Like, many people don't get into the marathon, but just getting in is amazing. With 9+1, our drawings, raising money for TFK, ITOs. Getting to this part of training is also really hard for athletes. We call a marathon the celebration of what you've done over the last 16, 18, 20 weeks. It's not a test. It's not an exam next Sunday. It's a celebration, and the city comes alive to celebrate your achievements over a long time, which I think is spectacular.
Yeah, all the hard work is over at this point.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Celebrate it.
It's going to be Celebration Day next Sunday. So, Coach Steve,
yes.
Your third tip, because we're talking about your tips today. Your third tip that you share with a lot of our runners is don't go out too fast.
Yes.
So they're on the course. Talk about what that means in relation to the course, and then give us just a little brief course preview.
It's the easiest one to say, but the hardest thing to do. So we say don't go out too fast. You're going to be so excited because the cannon, as you said, goes off, and you've been tapering for 2 or 3 weeks. You've had so many carbohydrates in your body. You feel like a rat in a cage, and you just kind of go as fast as you can, and you say, wow, marathon pace is so easy, and 8 minutes per mile, whatever, it seems easy. I'm going to try 7:30s right now up the biggest climb of the day. What's going to happen is we get to mile 18, 19, and it's going to get really hard all of a sudden. We try to push that wall back a little bit farther in the marathon. So the first mile is your biggest climb of the day. The Verrazano Bridge is the longest suspension bridge, I think, in the United States. So you really want to take that conservative. What you don't want to do is weave around athletes because maybe they're a little slower than you or you're boxed in. That is okay. I'm a pacer, 4 hours. I manage the pace team. We don't look at our watch until mile 3. Sometimes it doesn't connect right away. The lower part of the bridge, sometimes it might say you're doing 12-minute miles when you know you're not. It is okay. Don't look at your watch. Don't worry about it until you get into Brooklyn. If I say run with a pacer also, they'll slow you down, so don't go out too fast because they're going to go out slow for the first 5K. They're going to be a little bit slower, which is the goal for every single athlete out there, whether you're winning the race or you're competing in the race. So take your time on those first miles. Brooklyn is relatively flat. I say relatively because there's no flat part of the course, but it's a place you can find to settle into your pace, settle into your zone. Brooklyn really comes alive. It is loud. Every street you go through is a different background, a different band from Bay Ridge to Greenpoint to Williamsburg, all the way up to getting out of it into Pulaski. It just comes alive, but we're really holding back. I think Brooklyn, like 4th Avenue Brooklyn and 1st Avenue Manhattan are so similar in a sense where you want to go fast because you just came off a very big downhill. It's wide streets. It's a straight line. All tells me fast times, which you don't want at that point. You want to hold back. So really, on those 2 roads, you really need to settle in your pace. Halfway from a marathon is not mile 13. The Pulaski Bridge is not halfway. Halfway is mile 20 when you get to the Bronx because that's when you want to feel you have another gear. If you're racing this for a time, you can say, okay, I'm going to go a little faster in the Bronx, another gear, another effort level. But if you're not, that's fine. You can hang back. But you want to get to the Bronx feeling strong, and you get there taking your time up the Queensboro Bridge, which is a trip in itself. It's very quiet. It's surreal. No one's cheering for you on any of the bridges, but you really notice it in the Queensboro Bridge. Pitter-patter of other athletes' feet behind you. Sometimes some bad language because people are not having a good race. Take your time up that bridge. First Avenue is a cheer zone. People are going to be screaming your name on the balconies, cheering for you. Bronx comes alive. And the hardest part of the course, I still think to this day, is the Fifth Avenue hill at mile 24. It's going to make you realize what you're doing is meaningful. Why you're running this marathon. What is the reason you signed up in January, February? Is it to raise money for a charity? She probably had a bad moment on the but I'm assuming we'll hear that story later. But what is the reason you signed up for this race? You know, you're raising money for a charity that you believe in, like raising money for Team for Kids, or is it to get a goal time? Is it to beat your friend? Is it to, you know, whatever your reason is, remember that at that moment. As it could be simple, like I just want to prove myself I can do this. Remember that going up that part of the course. Central Park is your last mile or two. Come around that final turn back into Central Park, you're going to see some announcers there, some bands. It's going to come alive. And this is New York City, so we make it a little challenging. One last hill in Central Park, which you've all done before. We've all run the last hill as locals. You're going to feel it, but no matter what, you're just going to go as fast as you can to the finish line. And you're going to hear the announcers calling off athletes as they finish, and they're going to call off your name soon. That's my 45-minute course strategy tucked into 60 seconds.
So as Coach Steve said, there will be course strategy every hour on the hour, right?
Yeah.
At the expo, all 3 days.
All 3 days throughout the expo, every hour in the hour, and there will be Spanish 1 hour of those 3 days during the mornings.
And I believe we have ASL interpreters for some
ASLB
of that time
well,
as
yeah.
well. So if anybody is in need of that. So you've taken us through the course, but we're going to talk to Stephanie about a different aspect of the course, right? So on the Verrazano Bridge, of course, they're surrounded by other 50,000 runners. 49,999. But as they get off the bridge and get into Brooklyn, there's family and friends who may want to watch their family, friends, runners, just cheer for the crowd. How can family and friends see runners along the course? And also, what amenities are there along the course?
All right, let's start with amenities because we just went through this emotionally draining.
Talk about Fifth Avenue. What happened to Fifth Avenue when you ran it?
It was rough. It was hot that day. So starting at mile 3 all the way through 25, there's going to be water and Gatorade along the course. I believe it's going to be lemon lime. So if you've never tried it, try it before your run. If you don't like it, don't get it. But be prepared for what's going to be on the course. We're also going to have sport and science gels at mile 12 and 18, I believe. So be prepared for what's going to be on the course. Plan your nutrition. Make sure if you have your own gels that you're going to be carrying, that you plan it if you need a water station around there. But that's what's going to be along the course. Now, you obviously have your fans. We all have our fans that are going to be there supporting us. The first thing that both of you should do is download the TCS New York City Marathon app that became available this week on both iOS and Android. It is an amazing app. There's so much information in there. Tracking obviously is going to be most important for your friends, family, loved ones that are going to be wanting to cheer for you, whether they're here in New York City or they're somewhere else in the world. If they are going to be here in New York City, I would strongly recommend making a plan. Come up with where do you want to be seen. Does it make sense for your family to go all the way to Bay Ridge to see you at mile 1? Come up with a plan. Come up with a way to get to that place by mass transit, because there is absolutely no way you're going to take an Uber, taxi, really close to the finish, the course. So please make a plan. I also share. You should let your fans know what you're going to wear. So I know we all posted on Instagram what our flat person is. I know you've done it before.
Always.
Yeah. Make
well,
sure
it's the same of a race too. It's Pacer singlet. I'm gonna name it. That's it.
Exactly. Make sure that you're sharing that with your friends and family so they know what you're going to wear. But also have your friends and family tell you what they're going to wear, because you need something to look for. For 26.2 miles, you're going to be looking for mile markers. You're going to be looking for water stations. Look for something you love, like your friends, family. That's what you want to look for. So if you know someone is going to be wearing a bright orange sweatshirt, tell them to tell you that, so that way you can look out for them on the course. But really, the biggest advice is to make a plan as to where you want to see them, because everyone wants that loved one. I mean, the energy that you get when you see, friends, family, child, it goes through you, and you just take off. It's amazing.
I love that. Look for something you love. I like that a lot. I'm going to steal that.
Your fans. I like that. Not friends and family, your fans.
Your fans, yeah.
Your fans.
We all have fans, yeah.
Other fans that you will have on the course are also run clubs. We have run clubs that are set up throughout the course, and I believe we'll be sharing that on social media where certain run clubs will be set up. if you want to know that ahead of time.
If you're part of a run club and you want to track your friends and family, you can also search by run club in the TCS New York City Marathon app, and that way you can track all your friends at one shot.
Super easy for me to add all my run club just at once. I like that.
Yeah, it's a great
So
feature.
easy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, you have run the course.
was easy.
Amazing. So
Did it.
easier said than done, right? We are getting to the finish line, folks. So you've been dreaming about this over months of training. Maybe you actually run across the finish line in some of your training, right, in Central Park. So Stephanie, can you explain to us what runners will get after they cross the finish line?
A sense of accomplishment. No, you are the feeling that you will get when you cross the finish line. Like Steve alluded to, it is uphill, but when you get over that hill and you see the finish line, I mean, nothing stops you at that point. It is such a feeling of emotion. I mean, I think I cried after my first marathon. Like, I was just so overcome by what I physically was able to do. So just soak it in. After you soak it in, continue walking. Don't just stop at the finish line because we may catch you if, you need a medic or something like that. But please keep walking. The first thing that you're going to get is a medal. And it is so beautiful. It sparkles, which is great. And then the next thing you're going to get is a recovery bag. So super important that as soon as you're done running, you start taking in nutrition to replenish everything you lost. So within that recovery bag is going to be Gatorade, water, a Morton solid bar. There's going to be a New York apple, Snyder's pretzels. Just start nibbling. Have a volunteer open the pretzel bag and just start nibbling. You just ran 26.2 miles. Your body needs to recover. Just start nibbling, start drinking water, fluids. After you get your recovery bag, you're going to get a bright orange poncho to wrap around you and to keep you warm. Even on some warmer days, I often get a chill just because your body is kind of recovering and stabilizing after everything you've done. So everything that you are going to get, it's going to be in that order. So it'll be medal, recovery bag, then poncho. In that finish walk-off area, you're also going to see marathon photo. So no matter how tired you are, make sure you take your photo with your medal and just smile along the way because it's such a feeling of accomplishment.
And follow the direction of the volunteers and keep walking.
Yes, and if you see a volunteer, thank a volunteer. Our race is literally not possible without them.
Yes, definitely. We have thousands of volunteers that are going to be out there on race day to make this happen. And you mentioned it very briefly, but there will be medics, obviously, at the finish line if somebody needs assistance. But we also have medical tents along the course.
Yes, there's going to be medical tents along the course. About every mile or so, there's going to be medical tents. And if you're not feeling well, we're also going to have porta potties along the course as well. If you need anything, I think the medic tents will be stocked with ice, water, anti-chafing tools. So whatever you need, the medical tent is there for you if you need it, both along the course and at the finish area.
Just shout out to the medical team, because the one thing that a misconception I think about the marathon is if you go to medical tent, people think you're out of the race, like you had to be pulled out. It's not true.
Nope.
Their goal is actually get you back running as fast as you can. They're going to use discretion if they feel you can't. They're obviously going to call the higher-ups in ambulance if we need to, but they want to get you back out there running as soon as possible. I used a medical tent when I was in Boston. It was very hot. They gave me some salt, a little massage on the leg, and I was back out there. They do great jobs in there. So use them if you need them. They're there, once again, to get you back running as fast as you can on race day.
Yeah, and I used the medical tent after London as well. It was a bit warm, and I just wasn't ready to walk quite yet, and I just sat there 5 minutes, and it was such a great feeling. So they're there for a reason. Make sure if you need them that you do go see them.
Yep. Thank you. Coach Steve, so
Yes.
from a coaching perspective, Stephanie actually alluded to this a little earlier, but runners are going to have a variety of feelings. Maybe they'll cry, maybe they'll yell, we don't know, as they get to and cross that finish line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand that a little bit, especially for folks who are running for the first time?
Yeah, I think a lot of people at the finish line, and as Steph said, it's going to be a feeling of joy, elation, and there might be some athletes who are going for a certain time, or whether it's a personal record, or whether it's a Boston qualifier, or just your own personal goal. And because of the day, New York City Marathon, the goal didn't happen. And I think that we have to put that aside for a second and realize what we accomplished on race day. You said it's going to be a marathon photo at the finish line. We tell every single athlete, no matter what your watch says, the arms up in the air as you cross that finish line. As cheesy as it feels, the arms are going to be in the air because that's the photo you're going to remember that moment from. And whether you're off by, if you wanted 4 hours and you got 4 hours and 30 seconds, that's not a failure. Just because you didn't get 3:59.59 doesn't mean that race was a failure. You still were out there, you tried your best, and that's all you can ask for. So put that kind of time goal aside. You completed the New York City Marathon. And once again, not many people have done, I think the stat's like 1% of the world population has done a marathon. Now you're part of that. So remember that as you cross that finish line. And remember why you signed up for the race. Like, once again, most of us are probably running this for ourselves, to prove ourselves we can do something, or we're running this marathon for someone else, for other people, like a charity or someone who lost a battle. So remember, as you cross that finish line, what got you here, the people that got you there. Because this race, I'm sure you didn't train for it by yourself. You might have run the miles by yourself, but you sacrificed weekends or early mornings, and you had to put things aside for that. So those people got you there to that finish line. And remember that as you cross that line. So I think it's joy. It also can be some sadness leading the weeks afterwards and days afterwards, because a lot of us who train for 16, 18 weeks, we had something to look forward to over that time. And then that goal has now disappeared. And I had that moment where I trained for something for a long time, and then it was over. So notice that might happen to you. It might get kind of sad, but know that's going to happen. Find another goal, a short-term goal. Sign up for a 5K, a 10K, something shorter. Keep running when you feel healthy to do that. But recognize those feelings, because those might come up as well after you finish the marathon.
Absolutely. Thank you for going into that, Coach Steve. And if you feel sadness because you don't have another race lined up, we have a race almost every weekend at New York Roadrunners, so feel free to sign up for one. And Stephanie, you talked to us about, you know, the amenities that they're going to get, the medal they're going to get, all the volunteers that are cheering for folks, and we just ask them to keep walking. Where are they walking to if they want to meet up with their family and friends?
So New York does have a bit of a walk after the finish line, but there's a health purpose to it. If you just stop once you're done running a marathon, all the blood is going to rush, and you are most likely going to feel lightheaded. So we encourage you to walk. We also have 50,000 people crossing the finish line. So if you can imagine people crossing the finish line and then just stopping, it would be quite crowded at the finish line. So we have you continue walking along where you get, like I said, your medal, your recovery bag, your poncho, marathon photo is there. We'll have you walk towards Central Park West. And when you get out of the park, you're going to be at about 72nd. You're going to
77.
77. Oh, it's longer. It's going to, so you'll...
You cut the course last year.
No, I didn't, I promise. So once you get out of the park, then you'll be walking south towards Columbus Circle. At different points, we will have exit points where you're able to exit out of that runner walk-off area and meet up with your friends and family. We will have a designated family meetup area close to Columbus Circle, which you can access to meet up with your friends and family. But understand that cell phone reception may be a little spotty there. You know, there's 50,000 people plus, let's say, one fan for every runner. That's a lot of people all converging in one area. I recommend, again, I said it earlier, make a plan. If you don't want to meet up right in the family meetup area, find a restaurant, maybe a few blocks west, maybe a few blocks north, that you can meet up with your friends and family. Serves two purposes. One, they can get a seat for you. You just ran 26.2 miles. I'm sure you want to sit down at some point. And two, if it's at a restaurant, maybe they can get you a drink, something to eat, something that will kind of get you back moving.
That was one of the best things. After I finished the marathon in 2010, my white girlfriend time, she was at a restaurant, and I just walked over there, and my burger and drink were just showed up.
Like,
and they're sitting there, and it was the
perfect,
best thing ever. I knew where to go. Reservations are ahead of time, so if you want that, make sure you make the reservations for 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever time you think they're going to finish.
Yeah, but definitely make a plan when it comes to meeting up, because if you try and call your fan as soon as you cross the finish line, it might not go through. But also let your friends and family know that it may take you a while to do the walk-off. So we talked about how you're going to walk up to West 77th. That's a long walk. You just ran a mile. We're not speed walking to catch the subway anymore. We are sauntering after the finish line. So please let them know that at minimum, it'll take you a half hour. It's just let them know that this is going to take a little while. Just be prepared. And that way they know where to meet you. They understand, okay, it's taken about a half hour. They're just walking. It's fine.
Yep. And make sure you keep that medal on. Once it goes on, it stays on.
For at least a week.
Well, when you
For at
signed
least
up for this race, we all signed a contract. It said, like, liability and stuff like that. But in that contract, we have legal back here. It says that you must wear the medal for how many miles you ran per day. So you have to wear it for 26 days because you ran 26 miles. Legal back there, you're going to verify that. Wear your medal for 26 days.
You can
Can't run
verify
next
that
year.
after the panel. So folks, in just about a minute, we're going to move into audience Q&A. So if you have questions for those folks who are in the audience, we'll take some of your questions first. Folks on the live stream, feel free to add your comments, questions in the chat. Coach Gemma is monitoring those. Before we move into that, I want to ask Coach Steve and Stephanie for just final bit of advice that you can give folks as we move into race week and soon race day.
Go for it.
So I'm going to partially quote Vince Lombardi, Jersey native. To be early is to be on time. That should be your plan for the entire weekend. Do not try and squeeze another city tour before you go to the expo. Do not try and squeeze one more run in before the race. Do not try and squeeze 20 minutes more of sleep the night before the marathon. Be early, be prepared. There's a lot of people doing the same thing, but I would say the theme for the weekend is to be early is to be on time.
Yeah, the sleep the night of the marathon, actually, they say it doesn't matter really too much. If you sleep 4 hours before the marathon, that November 2nd, it's not as important as the October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd. Many years ago, I thought the marathon was about running, and then you find out it's not about running. It's actually about the stories of why you're running. I kind of mentioned this before, but you're running the marathon, and then, as you said, you're going to see your friends and family out there, and you're going to give a big hug. And that happens 50,000 times. And then what's also really cool is the people next to your family, they're going to join in that celebration of you. So now it's this whole stream of 20,000 people celebrating you throughout the day and your story, because our stories are about us, but it's about what got us there. And once again, those battles that we fight or the battles that other people fight, and we're running for them. So it's really remembering those when we're running the race, which can be hard at mile 20 in the Bronx when all you want is a sit down, but is really going to get you to that finish line and make the race memorable.
Awesome. And take in as much as you can from this experience, because New York City, our run clubs, our crowds, they're known for that experience, right? So take in as much as you can.
Unmatched, yeah.
Unmatched. New York City's best. I'm not biased at all. We will start with questions from the audience. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. Coach Gemma will come around with a mic. Please let us know your name if you're running this race for the first time, and try to keep your question brief.
Hi there, my name's Eric. So this is the first time I'm running the New York City Marathon, but this is going to be my second marathon. Now I know that this session is for race day logistics, but I was wondering if I could ask a question regarding like the lead up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I have been lucky enough to experience a marathon before, but that last marathon, I didn't get to experience a proper taper. I got hit with COVID and influenza A and B at the same time, like the month before. So terrible taper. So I'm doing my first real taper now. And my last long run was after the Staten Island half. And in that time, I find that trying to like go for an easy 400-meter run is like really
It's rough.
Yeah, it's like my legs are hurting. I feel shin splints. Like I can barely go like 10 meters before it starts hurting. I don't know if that's normal or if there's like I've seen online people are like, yeah, like tapering, you just get hit with everything because this is like the first time in a while that you're actually resting. I don't know if you have any advice for anyone that might be struggling with their taper right now in like the last 10 days before the race.
I can't speak to if it's shin splints or not. If you're feeling like a severe, almost sharp discomfort, or I could say the word pain, I would get that checked out. That's not normal. Like if you're like, 400 meters, I'm feeling something. That's not normal, but the tired legs, I'm feeling achy right now. Kind of feel like that 3 miles was harder than it should have been. That is completely normal.
Okay.
That vibe is right. But I'm feeling like 400 meters, I'm feeling something like sharp here. That's not normal. That's something you should kind of look into. The aches are like,
Luckily not sharp, just like dull,
heavy
aching
kind of
pain.
concrete.
Yeah, just like feel super tired.
I've gotten 3 or 4 runs this week talking my way over here. It's been rough. My last long run is Staten Island half. It is kind of been rough. And that's kind of normal-ish. It's all of our training is different than everyone else's, so it's not abnormal at all. The goal is sleep, protein, get some carbohydrates, hydrate. If you've done any type of massages or you're used to it, you can try that. and tell them you're running a marathon in a week so they're not super heavy on you. I know a lot of physical therapists places do like a fresh legs. They'll, they know what you're doing. So we have HSS. You can look, see if they do anything like the massage to help you kind of get kind of all that stuff out of your legs. That sometimes will help people. But it really is a lot of tools like the massage gun. But it really goes down to sleep, hydrate, and eat properly. Those will get you there and help you recover. You have another week left. You'll be good to go.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
And for peace of mind, you can get medical advice, not from Coach Steve.
Hi, I'm Joanna. It's my first ever marathon, so
Yeah.
my first New York City. I'm so excited. I have 2 logistics questions. First about the start. I live on the Upper East Side, so I'm trying to decide if it's best to take the subway or an Uber. So I'm curious, what's the traffic situation? What's the cost benefit of getting on the FDR versus getting on the 4-5?
Oh. And then to the
To the
library
ferry.
or to the ferry? Okay.
To the ferry.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is that if you take one of our transportation modes, we know a bus is coming, or we know the Staten Island ferry is coming.
Yeah.
If you're in an Uber and you get
just don't know.
to the Verrazano Bridge at 7:01, it's closed. So you need to make sure that whatever way you're going, you
Yeah.
get to the start on time. The bridges will close from Brooklyn at 7 o'clock.
I'm saying to get to because the ferry
An
leaves
Uber,
from,
an Uber,
I'm sorry.
Staten
Uber
Island
to the
ferry
ferry
terminal.
or the subway to the ferry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I heard
No, no.
start and I immediately
No,
was
no.
like start.
No, I meant to get to the ferry terminal.
yeah.
I think an Uber is probably going to be maybe
Fine.
faster. Yeah. It's,
Depends on your location.
It depends
Okay.
on the delays by the train, but I would check MTA to see what's going to be your
Okay.
best bet. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second question is about the end. So I have a couple family members who might be in the grandstand on the east side. And how do they get on? Do they cross?
it looks so confusing, right? It
How
doesn't make
does
sense on the map, right?
How does that work?
They do not cross the actual course.
Yeah.
If you've run through Central Park. There's different ways to walk under the course
Okay.
through
On the bridle path.
the
or
bridle path,
something.
things like that. Yeah, our
Okay.
event development team creates a very, very secure finish area, and we have walkways that will get them to the grandstands, and then out of the grandstands once you cross the finish
Okay,
line.
so they
Yeah.
can time when they're gonna be there.
They
Roughly.
can, but they should get there early,
Yeah.
like earlier than they think they should get there because of the volume of people that
Okay.
are all trying to watch
There's-
their
Okay.
runner.
Yeah, on
cool.
if you look on a website, if you go to the finish line map, it'll tell you what street to enter.
Finish
I
line
think it's
map.
like 63rd
63rd
Street
or
and
something.
whatever. Yeah, and it'll say
Yeah.
that take that street over, and you'll get entrance.
And then they're just routed.
yeah, there'll be
somehow.
signage, and I
Okay.
would say
Okay.
less bags the better for them
Okay.
because they'll be
Noted.
scanned.
Okay, thank you.
And it will take them time getting out of that
Get now
area as well.
too. It is first come first serve in that area, so get there early.
Do we have a question that we can take from online, Coach Emma?
We do. We have quite a few questions. Question number 1. Can you please provide some insight for those starting in Wave 5, especially for dealing with warmer weather? Also, how can you prepare with food?
Ooh, 2 questions here. I'll take warm weather. How to deal with warm weather, Gemma? Like how to dress?
Yeah, how to
Yeah.
dress, or it says deal with warm
Yeah,
weather.
so we don't. I think a lot of people right now are on weather.com or whatever it is. Like obsessively, don't. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help mentally. Control what you can control. Look at the weather. If you're from New York, look at the weather 2-3 days before the race. If you're out of town, look at ahead of time so you can pack for New York. But you can't control it. So once again, look what you've had in your training, what you wore, and pack that or plan that. Give yourself options to wear. You have to have your bib on a shirt. So if it's really warm, we're going to have t-shirt and shorts or singlet, capris, kind of stuff like that. We're going to adjust our race day goals too. So most of us ran through summer. We know it's a little bit harder to run in hot, humid weather, but we're also going to hydrate a little bit more. We're going to adjust our goals. Our RPE for the course, RPE like a 1 out of 10 scale, 1 we're walking and 10 we're sprinting. Our RPE is going to stay the same, but our 10-minute pace now might be at 10:30, 11-minute pace. And that's okay. We run the course, we run the day we have. It might not be 40 degrees, it might be 50 degrees, it might be 60, we don't know, but we're just going to run the best race we can in the weather and the course that we have that day. What was the second one?
Second one was about food, right?
Yeah, how to prepare with food, being in a later wave, being a later time in the morning.
Yeah, so I like to take what I would do on my long run and just mathematically figure it out when I'm at the start. So if I'm getting up in the morning and I'm going on a long run at my house, I get up about 2 hours, 2.5 hours before I run. I eat, I stretch, I relax, and then once I'm digested, I go out for my run. So take that same math. If you would eat 2 hours before your long run, that's when you should be eating your food. So maybe when you get up at home or your hotel, you're not eating right away. You're saving that and you're bringing that with you. You're bringing it in something that's going to get through the stars, so something that's not in a prohibited item, like no glass bottles. Our whole list of prohibited items is on our website. Ziploc bag. That way you can take your food and you can have it the same time you would on your long run, but just at Fort Wadsworth.
Yes, also people have, I've heard people have 3 breakfasts sometimes. Now they're not the huge breakfast, but you'll have a little bagel or banana at your house, your apartment, your hotel, and then eat something on the ferry or the bus, and then you're having something else in the start village. So it should all be portable food, something that you train with, so know what sits well with your stomach, but you might be bringing snack-sized breakfast to those, so your gas tank is as full as you can before that cannon goes off, and make sure it's all that carbohydrate is going to keep your gas tank full, so that gas tank can now get you to the finish line.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the audience here? We have one right here.
Mr. Yankees fan, he's ready to go. He's hoping out of Game 6.
Actually, we might have a game on Saturday.
I know, November 2nd. We'll see. I hope not.
My name is Israel, running for the first time a marathon. I have a bus for 5:30 a.m. Should I be there like any time before, or what's the experience? Like, are they just buses lined up, everybody's getting in?
The bus at 5:30?
Yeah, the buses are going to be lined up. There's also going to be a queue, so if you get there early, you'll just get into the queue and be one of the first people on the bus. But the buses will be full the entire time. So once one pulls away, another one will pull up. But I would say if you get there at 5:15, 5:20, you're going to be the first wave of buses that goes out. So pending no delays on the roadway, you'll be on your way very quickly. Yeah, of course. Good luck.
Online questions?
Yes, loads of questions about the expo and picking up bibs. So if you have to go at a different time than what you've selected, is that okay? And then if you want to go back to pick something up in one of the shops, is that also okay?
The expo is open to the public, so you can come and go as you please. We do ask that if you haven't, that you do select a time to pick up your bib, just so that our staff is ready and prepared to help all the runners that plan on coming on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. The other question was if you have to change.
Can you come back? Can you come back a second time?
Yeah, you can come back as many times as you want. Yeah, and buy
I think
all
it's
the
definitely
things.
important because we do have,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned before, we have Citizen Stage, and if you're not sure, the Citizen Stage is one of our brand new areas. We have some amazing panelists, some amazing talks, and some inspirational stories that you might pick up Thursday, and you see the program like, I really want to see Shalane Flanagan or whoever's talking on Saturday. And you can come back for those talks as well. So look online. We have some of the things out already online.
You can come see us all 3 days. We'll be there.
We've got so many questions in the chat. Another question is, can I run with a GoPro without a selfie stick?
I would check our list of things you can't do. I believe without this, you can run the GoPro in your hand, but just double check our list of items. You cannot, Legal in the Back has informed me right now, live on the air, that GoPros are not allowed on race day. Now we changed the answer, apparently, Legal back here.
We're learning as we go.
You can just hold, the question is holding the GoPro like this on race day, we can do that. We can hold the GoPros. Please no selfie sticks on race day, because those might hit people. So you can hold the GoPro on race day.
Make sure your arms stay steady that entire time. Any other questions
I think
from
we
the
had
audience
one. I think
here?
we had in person over here.
Oh, okay.
Same before Jem up front. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, me again.
It's all you, man. Let's do it.
Okay, this one is a logistics question. I don't think I heard you talk about people that signed up, when they signed up for all the bib assignments, if they also checked off the option to get a pre-checked bag.
Sure. So when you pick up your bib, if you have selected to do a pre-check bag, it will be part of your race packet. You'll get safety pins in your race packet, and you also get a bag if you've chosen bag check. If you haven't chosen bag check and you decided, I do want to check a bag, turn around, go to the runner support desk, which will be, like I said, behind you when you're picking up your bib, and they'll be able to assist you.
Okay. And what are the dates that people can actually bring the bag to get checked in?
It's going to be at Rumsey Playfield in Central Park.
Friday, Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Our volunteers will be throughout the park, guiding people towards where Rumsey Playfield is. So if you can't Google Maps it, definitely, we'll have volunteers in there Friday and Saturday directing people.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
There's no race day bag drop-off, folks.
There is no race day bag drop-off. You will get a bag in your packet. That's the Start Village bag. So that's something that you're going to put, maybe a magazine that you're going to read while you're there, your breakfast that morning, maybe a spare pair of socks, just in case you step into a puddle. That's all going to be in the Start bag, but all of that will be left at Fort Wadsworth. Nothing is going to be transported from the start to the finish.
Thank you. Any other questions from folks in the audience here? Otherwise, we'll take
We got one
some.
in the back.
Oh, somebody in the back.
Hi, this might not be a relatable question, but for the slow runners, could you talk a little bit about the cutoff time and if roads open up, how long the aid stations will be out
Yeah.
so we can plan accordingly?
Yeah, so our finish line will be open until 10 p.m. at night. Another reason, as you said, New York City is the best marathon. It's the longest finish line that's open. It'll be open all night, and it is a party out there for our final finishers. We bring everyone home in style. So, but we do have to open the streets in New York City. So the roads have to open. It is a gradual open. It is not we're going to open it, and the cars are going to come down First Avenue. So we do what's called a sweet bus. It's a vehicle with our NYPD and our city partners. It does go, I think, like a 16-minute per mile, 15-minute per mile, something like that. And it just is a sign for those aid stations to slowly and gradually start breaking down. If that vehicle kind of passes you, our NYPD and city partner is going to ask you to just move to the sidewalk and make your way to the finish line. We also have, I cannot think of the name, but we do have a group of volunteers that will be walking the course at the very
Mobile
back.
support.
What's it?
Mobile support.
Mobile support. They'll be in the back after those streets are closed that will provide runners with water, Gatorade, gels, whatever they need, cell phone chargers. So for the athletes in the back, that the aid stations are closed, they'll provide some help for that and make sure you don't get lost in the Bronx or something like that. You're welcome.
Yeah, good luck.
We are partial, but it is the best marathon because we actually wait for the last finishers,
Love it. It's a party out there.
which is a party. Any other questions we can take? Oh,
Reach. Don't pull a muscle.
The stretch before the race. So I have a quick question. So I'm scheduled for the Wave 3 Corral A based on my times.
Yep.
But I just got back from Berlin, and I had an amazing experience with a pace group.
Yep.
And so I think I want to do the 4:30 pace group, which means I would have to fall all the way back to Wave 4.
Yep.
Corral E.
Yep.
And I can pick any color. So my question is, if I'm set up for the Staten Island ferry, I think it's like a 5:30 ferry. If I decide to drop back, can I just get on a little bit later ferry?
We ask that you still stop by the transportation desk because there may be other things. If you've got a Berlin race result that kind of warrants a change, we will change everything that matches your wave. So I would pick up your bib and then stop by the runner support desk and see what logistics we can make sure we can finalize to make sure you have an easy morning.
It's also important because you say take a little bit later ferry.
Yes.
How late would you take? You don't know that. So like the transportation ferries, we'll set you up with the proper ferry to get to your time.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Good job in Berlin.
Good luck.
The
Any
Pacers
other-
in Berlin are similar to us. They're really good.
not partial.
Still the best. Gemma, up front
We have a
here.
question up front, and Gemma.
Getting my steps in.
This is Gemma's taper period, so be easy on her.
My question is so specific about when we cross at 77th and we exit the park. Years ago, we used to be able to go right. Now we're forced to go left. At what point can we,
Exit.
yeah,
Yeah.
sort of,
We have our design team put together a really clear post-finish walk-off map. So if you go on our website, it's under the finish tab, and you'll be able to see where our first exit point is. You still can't go right, but you'll be able to see it. It might even, oh, there
Gemma's
we go.
got it. Gemma
Look
is
at
on
Gemma.
top of it.
So good. Good
Thanks,
luck.
Coach Gemma. We do want to be respectful of folks' time. We have past 7 o'clock, but if there's any other important or pertinent questions
Anything
online that we can take, maybe
A theme? Any
one or
themes we
two?
see?
Yes, I can
Like how
think
awesome
of.
the 4-hour pacer is this year? Just
We
saying.
have a question about just clarifying hydration vests. What can and
Yeah.
can we not have?
So you can wear a vest, but it cannot have the bladder in the back. So you can put your gels in the front, but you cannot have any liquid or even have the bladder back there. That is against our policy. We also on our website have a fully comprehensive list and examples of what is prohibited on the course, on the start. So I would read through it just to familiarize yourself with the items that you can and cannot bring into the start and also onto the course. You can have water bottles, but they can't be the bladder. Yeah, the bladder, no, you can have water bottles. I just use the gels as an example, but you can, you just can't have the bladder in the back. Yeah.
Is there, I'm just going to repeat the question for folks online. Is there a
How many
limit to
to
the
carry?
number of bottles you're bringing in?
A limit? I know there's a size of 1 liter. I don't think you can bring 90 in if you want. How many do you want to bring in? How many water bottles are you talking about? Because I've never had this question before. You can bring 3 water bottles in, yes. Remember, you can also refill them. Every water station, or you can have the volunteers refill those water bottles for you. So think about how much you actually want to carry on race day, and knowing that at those aid stations, you can ask them to fill up those water bottles. Make sure the water bottles are the correct size. I think it's 1 liter, and but you can bring in 3 water bottles. Some people bring in 4, like the waist backs, you know.
And New York City water is the best water. We have
I don't know
another
how many
question from
you
the
can bring.
audience right there.
How many water bottles can you bring?
Hey, thanks for having us. I ran the Berlin Marathon, and it's my first time in New York. And I was wondering, what do you think, how much slower is the New York one when you're like around 3 hours runner?
Ran Berlin in 3 hours, and you know what your time would be for New York City?
Yeah, well,
So I
I
think it's-
ran Berlin 3:05.
3:05.
And-
Amazing job.
Thanks.
It's a tricky answer because there's a few factors than just the time, because you have your body's not at 100% because you're probably not fully recovered from Berlin. You also have obviously the course train. You have probably different weather and a city that you might not, but you haven't run the course, you don't know what turn's coming up next. So if you look at the records of each course, they're not that different. Now Berlin's the world record course, or was, and then Chicago took it over the next day or something like that. You know, it's not much different time, maybe 4 minutes different from the world record, the best in the world. They're not that different. So you can look at yourself in that position. If you were fully trained for each race, you get maybe between 5 and 10 minutes faster on Berlin, but that doesn't mean you still can't have a 3:05 in New York if you run it properly. So if you go out too fast, if you take those hills too aggressive, you might have a hard race, but if you go out conservatively, you use run by RPE, maybe use a 3:05 pacer to hold you back early on, you can still have that 3:05 in New York City, assuming you're well rested, you're tapered, you are recovered. The weather is ideal for those conditions as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just was wondering what pace I start running. But okay, thank you.
Always start more conservative, and then you can gradually build yourself up. So if you think you're in 3:10 shape, I'm making it up right now. If you're like, oh, that sounds reasonable, knowing your training history and your race history, start that, and then you can gradually pick up pace. If you start 3:05, you might go out too fast and maybe get 3:15. Bad examples, but you know what I'm talking about.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Coach Steve.
Good luck.
Can we take maybe one more question from online, and then I think.
Anyone
is there
here?
any
Anyone
other
here?
question from
Well,
the
if you're
audience
here, you can also come up
We have
afterwards.
one up front.
Hi, I'm George. Second time doing New York, 4th marathon.
Nice.
So I know you can move back to run with other people. How does that work for the different colored starts? So person I want to run with is also wave 1, also starting same corral, but in a different start color.
You can move, like you just said, you can move back to the furthest one. If you're both the same, you can, as long as you're in the right corral, that is what's most important. The higher number.
What's like if your bib number is 1,000 and theirs is 1,050, go to 1,050.
No, it in terms of just the colored start. So they're a pink start. I'm
It's
blue
whatever-
for NYPD.
Whatever the
Higher bib number.
higher bib number is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
So-
actual bib number. Yeah. Mhm.
Any themes online, Gemma, for one last question? And then we can wrap up. Me and Steph will be here also for anyone in person. We can ask questions.
One final question is, how would you recommend runners dress for the starting corrals? In the starting villages?
Yeah, so I'll kind of start. So we don't know the weather. We don't know what it's going to be like, really what it's going to be like. So the majority of the time, we're looking at dressing warm on race day. So throwaway clothes. We donate all of our donated clothes to All of Us Clothing. And so you'll see bins on the side, which Steph mentioned. Toss your clothes before the race starts, but we kind of don't know yet because it's a little too early to see what's going to be like on race day. But you want to be kind of warmer on race. Assume it's going to be chilly. You want to be warm before you start.
And just for clarity on the bib, I know Steph had mentioned that, wear it on the outermost layer when you're going through security, but also a lot of times folks will wear their bibs on the innermost layer because they're going to take those layers off.
It depends on, Well,
Yes, don't put your bib on a sweatshirt you're going to toss. Please don't do that.
so as you go through security, lift up the shirt, show your bib. Yeah. That's happened before. As you run, you'll see bibs on the side. It's not a good sign.
You'd be
Things are fun.
surprised. All kinds of things happen. Okay, folks, well, we want to thank you so very much for joining us here tonight. Congratulations on making it so far.
Woo.
Just a few more days to go. It's going to be Expo in just a few days, and then all the fun and the partying starts where you get to celebrate your achievements. We want to thank our panelists, Stephanie and Coach Steve. Want to thank AJ, who's making sure that live stream is working well. Want to thank all of our colleagues here at the Run Center and all of our fellow NYRR staff in the back supporting us. And thank you. We'll see you out on the course.
Good luck.
The start and the finish. And also as a parting gift, we do have, I believe, SIS gels and Gatorade towels. Please feel free to take one as you leave. Thank you.